Since Mbappe joined PSG in 2017, PSG's campaign in the UCL has been ass. In his first season in the UCL with PSG, they got slapped by Real Madrid. And then in his second season, they lost to a Lukaku-led United after being 3-1 up. In his third season, they made the Champions League final, but Mbappe had an all-time stinker and handed Bayern Munich the Champions League. The next season, they lost 4-1 on aggregate to Manchester City, then Real Madrid, then Bayern again, and then finally the worst one. Last season, they lost to a freedom fighter-led Dortmund with Sancho in the UCL semi-final. But the second Kylian Mbappe leaves PSG, they win the UCL. This is not a coincidence, ladies and gentlemen. But before I talk about why Kylian Mbappe leaving was the reason why PSG finally won the UCL after years of torment, let me give some credit where it's due. PSG, congratulations. The team that was actually the best team in the UCL actually won it. Well, that rarely happens in the UCL. Congratulations on winning your first ever UCL. As an Arsenal fan, I'm pissed. Like, I am beyond pissed, because if I made the final, that would have been easy money against Inter Milan. I mean, put Bayern number one up. We're winning that. But congratulations, you are by far the best team in the UCL this season. Now let's get back into why Kylian Mbappe was the reason why PSG did not win the Champions League. Reason one on why Kylian Mbappe leaving PSG was actually a blessing in disguise. Kylian Mbappe is the worst player on earth when it comes to the defensive side of the game. On the ball, he's the truth. He's a world-class player. He is one of the best players on earth. But off the ball, this man is a disgrace. Real Madrid fans can tell you this season that off the ball, Kylian Mbappe is a cone. Against Arsenal, this man had zero defensive actions, and the man just stood there and watched his team get decimated by Rice. Last season, we saw a clip of Luis Enrique literally begging Kylian Mbappe, on his knees, begging Kylian Mbappe to help on the defensive side of the game. And of course, time and time again, Kylian Mbappe showed us that he doesn't give two Fs about the defensive side, even after his coach literally begged him. It got so bad that Luis Enrique literally took him out of the left-hand side and put him as a striker because he doesn't press. You see, at the start of the season, when Kylian Mbappe left for Madrid and the world had a glaze off on how many TikTok edits on how scary Real Madrid would be this season with that front four, Luis Enrique said this: "I think that we're better in attack and in defense." He said that with pure confidence. He basically said the dynasty doesn't start with you, it starts after you leave. And my God, was Luis Enrique right. Because this season, attacking wise and the defensive side, PSG have been on crack. But let's talk about the defensive side of PSG this season. Let's talk about Ousmane Dembele. Just look at his face right here. Look how excited he is to press. Look how excited he is for the defensive side of the game. If that was Kylian Mbappe, I'm sorry, but you have to kidnap his own family and hold them for ransom for him to even think about pressing. PSG's pressing this season has been so good to the point where PSG developed a new tactic because of it. When they kick off, they immediately launch the ball out of possession into the opponent's half so they can set up their press. That's how good their press is this season. Last season, they didn't do that. Why? Because they had Kylian Mbappe, who wasn't going to press. Now, I know there's some old heads watching this video probably thinking, for God's sake, he's a striker, he doesn't need to defend. Well, Unc, this ain't 1976, this is 2025. If you're a striker, your winger does not press, he does not defend, he does not help on the defensive side of the game, your team ain't gonna do shit. That is the way football is nowadays. This ain't Maradona where he walks around and then he gets the ball and then boom, he does some actions. No. Your ass better help on the defensive side. Your ass better start running around. Another reason on why Kylian Mbappe leaving PSG was a blessing in disguise was the never-ending Real Madrid transfer saga. Since 2021, Kylian Mbappe to Real Madrid has been a hot topic every transfer season. Every time the transfer window hits, Kylian Mbappe to Real Madrid, there's transfer rumors, there's journalists, there's fake news, there's PR training, there's everything. There's 9 million articles on Kylian Mbappe to Real Madrid. And because of that, PSG would fall for it every single time. PSG's whole transfer strategy would become, let's keep Kylian Mbappe. Let's make Kylian Mbappe happy. This is a Kylian Mbappe club. Kylian Mbappe this, Kylian Mbappe that. To the point where the president had to get involved and begged Kylian Mbappe to stay in PSG for 2 years. PSG literally turned into Mbappe protection unit. Everything revolved around keeping him happy. And because of that, PSG's whole transfer strategy would get hijacked. Now, I'm not saying that Kylian Mbappe had choices on who to bring in and who to leave out. No. But he certainly had influence. The club became a hostage to one man's decisions, but when he finally dipped, they were free. They built a real squad, not Mbappe's central project. Everyone had a role. The balance was right. The system made sense, and boom, they have the Champions League because of that. Now, to be fair to Kylian Mbappe, it isn't entirely his fault the reason why PSG couldn't win the Champions League, okay? He's one man, first of all, and he's a world-class player. Any team would love to have Kylian Mbappe. PSG played themselves. PSG had an obsession of building a C-Tech Galactico every single time. Instead of building a real team behind Kylian Mbappe, PSG would always build a TikTok team behind Kylian Mbappe. I swear, every transfer window, I think that the PSG board would sit there and think to themselves, how many washed up players, Reputation FC, can we bless with all these Qatar money we have? Now, I know everyone's giving Al Khalifi credit for the squad he built this season, but let's be honest with each other. Everyone and their mother told this man, like, for the last 10 years, for him to build a real squad, for him to not build this geriatric Galactico that he's been chasing year after year after year, spending millions, matter of fact, billions on washed up players. This is the first season he actually builds a real squad, and what does he get? He gets a Champions League. But the second Kylian Mbappe leaves is kind of coincidental. I don't know, it's kind of funny to me that the second Kylian Mbappe leaves, this man actually takes his job serious. But when Kylian Mbappe was there, suffering year after year after year, he gave him Geriatric FC. So yeah, PSG winning a UCL isn't a coincidence. It was a release of a chokehold, the end of the Mbappe era, the start of an actual football team. Now, Kylian Mbappe could go on and win the Champions League with Real Madrid next season, but for him to do that, I believe on the defensive side, this guy has to massively improve. He has to stop acting like a cone and actually start pressing. Having zero defensive actions in a Champions League quarterfinal is disgusting. Kylian, if you're watching this video, come to Arsenal Football Club and I guarantee you Mikel Arteta would teach you the defensive ways. Trust me on that. Anyways, that's all I got. Please like, subscribe, and also follow my Twitter right here and join the Discord. Goodbye.